Shalom, shalom, fam. Shalom, shalom. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. All right, so this is one of the videos. Just in a quick introductory. Basically, in this chat, we'll be uploading videos, a couple videos throughout the week, just trying to give some edification and lift up some spirits. Trying to do better as far as the communication. And I know we do need those things. It's time for us to turn the page and, really start this communication between each other, our little community. So this channel here is dedicated to just videos, inspiration. These classes are not long. They're just a quick word of inspiration and hopefully edification. So I want to start off by giving all praises to the Most High God and through His Son Christ that we're able to obtain grace, mercy, and we're able to make the kingdom by doing what He told us to do. So to start things off, this class or this clip is a quick situation of titled or entitled, God Hasn't Forgotten You. All of us go through things. All of us have our situations, and life can really throw us, not curveballs, but fastballs. Type just zoom right by. You didn't even know it went until somebody says strike. So, and in that, just because we might hear the word, it may not hit us. So we got to keep reminding ourselves, and we got to continue to gather. We got to continue to uplift each other. And we got to remember that God has not forgotten us. He hasn't. So we're going to be in the book of Hebrews, chapter 6, and we're going to start at verse 10, and we're going to read down to verse 20. And through these precepts, I'm going to, try to break it down. Not take too much time. Again, these are not going to be long drawn-out classes, just something real quick. So we'll start in Hebrews chapter 6, and we'll start at verse 10. It reads, "For God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have shown towards his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister." Let's read that again. "For God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love." So it's not all you have to do is love, because this says your work and labor of love. Let's dive into that a little bit real quick. Let's get John chapter 14, verse 15. Let's see what Christ said pertaining to love. Starting at John chapter 14, verse 14 and 15. It reads, "If ye shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. If you love me, keep my commandments." Okay, this is what Christ said. What love was. If you love me, well, not what love was, but if you love Christ, if you love the Most High God, keep the commandments. Let's get into what might the work be then. Okay, let's start at Deuteronomy, because that work will always have to go back to a law. Even the love is going to have to go back to a law. So we'll go to Deuteronomy chapter 6, and we'll go to verse 1 through verse 5 to get an understanding. What do you mean by work? Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 1 reads, "Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments, which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that ye might do them in the land whither ye go to possess it." Okay, "that thou mightest fear the Lord thy God, to keep all his statutes and his commandments which I commanded thee, thou and thy sons and thy son's son, all the days of thy life, and that the days may be prolonged." So it says, "Hear therefore, Israel, and observe to do it." To do what? Keep his law, statutes, and commandments. Here's the work. "That it may be well with thee, and that ye may increase mightily, as the Lord God of thy fathers promised thee." So this is a promise. If we do this, we're supposed to inherit a promise. "In the land that floweth with milk and honey. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Kicker. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thine heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. You see this over and over. It's in Matthew 22 as well. You saw it just what Christ said. If you love me, keep my commandments. He brought love and the commandments. So again, we'll get back to Hebrews chapter 6. And we'll read verse 10 again. It says, for God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have shown towards his name, and that ye have ministered to the saints, and do the minister. Well, who are the saints? According to Psalms 148, we really don't have to get it, but Psalms 148 verse 14, it tells you who the saints are. It's the children of Israel. All right, and it says, verse 11, and we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end. Wait a minute. Read it one more time. And we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence. You got to understand, these apostles, they were diligent when it came to God's law, statutes, and commandments, and diligent to preaching the gospel. Diligent of teaching who Christ is and who he was. What did he come to do? It was good news to learn that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That is great news. But how do you obtain it? What are you supposed to be doing? That labor of love, that work. So it says, desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end. Well, there's some other scriptures that tells you about keeping this until the end. Let's go ahead and jump right into Revelation chapter 14, and we'll start at verse 12. And it reads, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. That's some long endurance. Because when you go into reading Revelation 14, it tells you what is going to happen in the end times. But you have to be patient and diligent in your patience. Not just sitting there, but doing the work. Because within every covenant, it has to have a beginning, not necessarily end, but within that beginning, things have to manifest and grow. So everything can be fulfilled. Like when Christ was born, he didn't just appear. Things happened, which is written in the law. Miracles, bringing people from the dead, blessing people, healing people, showing how to love, the actions. All this is written aforetime. So there was an ordinance in his birth that had to happen. It's the same thing with us. Within life, we're going to go through some ups and downs. And within those ups and downs, we have to be patient and diligent. Hold fast to God's unchanging hand. We're about to get into that. So it says, Hebrews chapter 6, and we're going to read verse, let me make sure I didn't skip over anything right quick. Yeah, bear with me for a second. Let's go to verse 13. Well, verse 12, I'm sorry. Verse 12 says, I'll read verse 11 because we did take a little time. It says, and we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end, that ye be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promise. Now, we just told you in Revelations. It told you the exact same thing. Through the faith and patience. These are the saints. So it's our job to be able to follow. Like we were following the apostles. We were following the prophets. If you're not at that level yet to teach, follow. Learn as much as you can learn so you can do the exact same mission the Most High God sent us to do. Gather your nation. How? Keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments. This is how you set order. This is the heritage or the inheritance that I told and gave to you guys. So you would have to know who you are. You would have to know what you're supposed to be doing. And while doing it, you're in captivity. So you know it's a fight. You know you're at war every day. I tell one of my brothers on here all the time, man, you got to stop going to war with just a t-shirt and flip-flops on. Brother, you got to put the whole armor of God on. You know what I'm saying? You got to put it on. And know you're at war. So when things come your way, you just be like, I trust in the Lord. You got to make these words come to life. They have to come to life. They're written. You just got to believe it. Don't let nothing affect you like that. Nothing tear you down, because God has not forgotten you. Let's get back into this. Here we go with verse 13. For when God made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself. Now let's read this, because you also find this in the book of Genesis. Saying, surely blessings I will bless thee, and multiply I will multiply thee. And so after he had patiently endured, Abraham had to patiently endure, he obtained the promise. Here is a fact that happened. So of course, you're about to keep reading, you're going to see that the Most High God didn't forget us either. He made a promise to us, just like he made a promise to Abraham. And when Abraham patiently endured, patiently, not say, oh, hell with this, I'm too old, I ain't going to have no kids. He ain't doing none of that. The Most High God promised him this, I'm going to do everything he told me to do. Oh, you want me to sacrifice my son? Cool. No worries. Because I have hope and faith in you, the Most High God. That's where our minds have to be. Not going out here slaughtering our kids. I'm just saying our minds have to be in obedience when the Most High God tells us to do something. And if he tells you, I'm not changing, we got to believe that. If he tells you, I'm coming to get you, you got to believe that. So it says, verse 16, for men verily swear by the greater, and an oath of confirmation is to them to the end of all strife, wherein God willingly more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath. Here's the oath. That by two immutable things in which it was impossible for God to lie, we might have strong consolation, who have fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before us. Let's get the definition of that. Immutable. It means unchanging over time or unable to be changed. Well, let's see if that's in the scriptures. Let's go to Malachi chapter 3. Let's get verse 6. Malachi chapter 3 verse 6 reads, for I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Now, the reason why we're not consumed, when we keep reading the Hebrews, you're going to find out why we're not consumed. Hebrews chapter 6, and we're going to read verse 19. Because the end of verse 18 says, who have fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope set before us. What was set before us? Which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, and which entereth into that within the veil, whether the forerunner is for us entered, even Jesus, made an high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. So it's letting you know what that hope was. That hope was Christ, so that Jacob wouldn't be consumed. What did I go into? The ordinance and the law of adultery, us doing that to the Most High God, idolatry, adultery, both one and the same when it came to what we did. We were supposed to be put to death. Christ was that hope. Christ was the hope to come to be that perfect sacrifice so that we would not be consumed. So for that promise, that law that was written, the Most High God does not change his mind. It does not change his hand. I made a promise to you. I'm going to keep it. There are provisions set forth in your downfall. So you got to understand, the Most High God, although it may seem like the world is coming down on your shoulders, it's hard out here. Lean on each other, family. You got to understand, the Most High God said he does not change. He has not forgotten you. He made a promise to Abraham. That promise is dedicated to you as well. Stay strong in the faith. Have a great day. I love you. If y'all need anything, let your boy know. I ain't rich. I got a couple pennies or whatever. Or, y'all need a hug, I got you. But keep the faith. Stay strong. Stay in the spirit. Shalom, Most High in Christ bless.